Aston Martin and Honda were supposed to look like Formula One's next heavyweight project. Instead, 3 races into 2026, they already look like one of the biggest disappointments on the grid. The results are bad, the pace is worse, and the most painful part is that nobody inside the project seems to think a quick fix is coming. Suzuka was the moment that really exposed how serious the problem is. Honda's home race should have been a chance to show progress. Instead, Aston Martin looked alarmingly weak, to the point that the package was being judged against brand new opposition and still coming off badly. That alone tells you this is not one small issue dragging the car down. It is a full package problem. The engine is clearly one part of it. The source points to Aston Martin being massively down on speed along the longest straights, with Fernando Alonso reportedly losing around 20 to 30 kilometers per hour to rivals in Suzuka qualifying. That kind of deficit destroys the lap before you even reach the next braking zone. And it becomes even more painful when the hybrid deployment is not covering the weakness in the right places. But the engine is not the whole story, and that may be even more worrying for Aston Martin. The car is also carrying too much weight, lacking confidence in high-speed corners, and simply not producing the level of performance expected from a project that arrived with so much noise around it. When a car is late into the corner, slow through the apex, and weak on exit, that is not a narrow problem anymore. That is a car losing time everywhere. That is why the recovery timeline matters so much. This is not a case of bolting on one new part and suddenly unlocking half a second. Honda may receive extra help under the 2026 engine development system because of how far off the pace it appears to be, and that could open the door to more upgrade opportunities this year. But permission is only one part of the story. The real delay is in the work itself, designing, testing, validating, and building something good enough to race. And that is where Aston Martin's reality becomes uncomfortable. Even if the performance work is already happening, the source makes it clear that meaningful gains are unlikely to arrive overnight. A proper engine step takes months, not days. So, while extra development allowance may help Honda climb back, it does not mean Aston Martin are about to roll into the next race with a transformed package. Miami could still bring a small step forward. The source hints that Honda may be targeting a reliability spec change for that weekend, and even a cautious power unit can sometimes hide a little untapped performance when the team becomes more confident. But nobody is presenting Miami as the finish line. At best, it sounds like the first sign of movement rather than the complete solution. The bigger concern is the chassis side, because that seems to demand a much deeper rethink. Alonso's comments in the source point toward a team that does not expect anything dramatic in the short term, and the suggestion is that a more meaningful overhaul could take much longer to arrive. That tells you Aston Martin may already be balancing two fights at once. Trying to stay respectable now, Xiao, while quietly admitting the current concept, may need something far more aggressive later. There is at least one area where Aston Martin seemed to believe progress is possible sooner. The team has been dealing with a nasty vibration issue, serious enough that Adrian Newey reportedly described it in extreme terms earlier in the season. At Suzuka, Aston Martin tested a part around the steering area that appeared to reduce the issue in practice, although it was not used in the race proper. That means there is at least a visible path toward making the car less punishing for the drivers, even if it does not suddenly make it fast. Weight reduction may also help a little. And if Miami brings a lighter car, a calmer steering feel, and a more confident reliability picture, then Aston Martin could at least stop the bleeding. But stopping the bleeding is not the same as joining the fight at the front. Right now, everything about this story points to a team trying to survive the early phase of the season rather than shape it. And that is the real headline here. Aston Martin and Honda are not staring at a one-race fix. They are staring at a long rebuild inside the season. The engine needs help, the car needs help, the drivers need relief, and the clock is already moving. Miami might offer a little encouragement, but the real recovery still looks a long way off.